Hello and welcome to a new vlog and trip report. Today we're taking a look at the Tram of Porto. We're taking a look at the historic Tram of Porto. We are going from the old town Ribeira, from the station Infante, to the station Passeio Alegre, close to the Atlantic Ocean in Douro, following the river Douro. Here you have seen where we are in general, and now we can take a look at the route in detail. So we're starting at Infante, close to the old town Ribeira, and then we're heading past the Tram Museum of Porto, always following the river Douro until we're reaching the station Passeio Alegre, which is very close to the Atlantic Ocean, and then we're taking the tram back using the same line until we reach Infante again. In a second you can see our route in total, and of course in this video I will tell you a bit more about the history of the tram and why it is not a very important type of transport in Porto anymore. But first let's take a look at the interior of this tram. It was a bit difficult to film inside as the trams are usually very crowded, as they are one of the major tourist attractions of Porto, but still they are not an important type of transport. But more on that later on. We are now following the river Douro in a direction of Douro. From the end point of the line it takes around 10 minutes to get to the beach and another 10 minutes to get to a beautiful beach bar. So all of this sounds like, and as you can see here, the views from the tram are breathtaking. You're always directly at the river, so it is a very scenic ride. So all of this should mean that the tram is very important in Porto, but it's just important for the tourists, because right next to it there's a bus line, line 500, which is much faster than the old trams, and therefore all the locals are using the bus and only the tourists are using the tram. The tourists are also the only reason why this tram still exists. Porto was the first town in Portugal to have an electric tram. Already in 1895 the first line was opened, and until 1950 the Tram of Porto had a track length of 182 kilometers. But since the 1960s more and more tram lines were closed and replaced by bus lines, and nowadays there are only 3 lines left, only the lines that are used by the tourists, as buses are faster than the old trams. And also there is not really a schedule. There is an official schedule, but as you have to pay your ticket to the driver directly, it also takes quite a long time when the trams are full until everybody paid, and therefore it's nearly impossible to keep that schedule, and therefore the trams are not really running on a schedule. So the bus has a better schedule, is more frequent, and also much faster. So nowadays, as I said, there are only 3 lines left. When I was traveling, only 2 of them were operational. The line that we are on, line number 1, and another line that is going from the Atlantic Ocean to the Clérigos Church. But still there is kind of another tram in Porto. There's the Metro of Porto, which is the successor of the tram with modern trains and a modern schedule. The Metro opened in 2002 and can be seen as the modern version of the tram. Here we can see a bus of the line 500. As you can see, it overtook us easily, so it is much faster than the tram. But we also made it to Douro. Here we can take a short look at the interior of the tram. It was still crowded, so it was a bit difficult to film, but I think you got a little idea how they are looking from the inside. And from here we walked around 10 minutes to the beach and another 10 minutes to the beach bar, and now we can take another historic tram back to the old town of Ribeira. Here on the tram lines only historic trains are used. There are no modern trains. Modern trains are only used at the metro, and if you want to travel with the tram, as I said, you have to pay to the driver directly, and the tickets of the metro are not valid here in the historic tram, so you need an extra ticket. But now it's time to listen to the sound of the historic Tram of Porto. So we are now heading back to Ribeira, and now let's talk about, is it worth it taking the tram here in Porto? So the answer depends on whether you are interested in old historic trams or not. If you're not interested in trams, I would not recommend taking the tram. Just take bus line 500, it's more convenient and it's faster. But if you're interested in those old trains and you enjoy riding those old trains, I can highly recommend using the Tram of Porto. It's a fantastic experience. Of course, it takes more time than taking a taxi or taking the bus, but it's about the ride, it's about enjoying the scenery. So if you enjoy this kind of traveling, it is a very, very nice experience and I can highly recommend it. Otherwise, just take the bus and you will be much faster. We're now almost back at the Ribeira, where the line ends, and I'm leaving the tram, and we can try to take another look at the beautiful interior of those historic trains, but they are always crowded, so it's a bit difficult to film inside. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Here you can see where the next one will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.